Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm RubiGamingx. Today we're going to analyze the battle between Godzilla and Iron Dragon. Now, from the very beginning, the Iron Dragon knew if it wanted to have a chance up against Godzilla, it had to use the element of surprise, which is why you see as soon as Godzilla enters the portal, you see the Iron Dragon cutting to the right. That allows him to attack Godzilla directly from behind, giving him the element of surprise. Godzilla was not aware of this happening, and we all knew that Godzilla's style has definitely improved since 2014. You could see that this was a very one-sided battle, but the Iron Dragon did everything it could to attack with the element of surprise, to use everything it could to its advantage, having those wings to curve around, fly around, and maneuver. Look closely, Godzilla seems to be struggling a little bit because of that extra maneuver that the Iron Dragon has, able to clinch onto Godzilla's face with his tail attaching to his mouth really tight. What the Iron Dragon didn't know is that Godzilla has already gained lots of experience from fighting multiple monsters. That includes the Mutos, and of course Godzilla has the advantage of being a very powerful monster, if not the most powerful currently in that timeline. Now, if you look closely, Godzilla was distracted obviously by the humans doing their thing in that mission. Well, thing is, lots of people were saying that Godzilla was actually going to hurt humans for the first time. Not really. Godzilla's mission, and we know by this series, and as we already know, Godzilla is really a protector. He is there to make sure no monsters are outside causing any problems, and he's also making sure humans are not going into Hollow Earth. So in a way, he's just doing his own job, his natural order thing. And I do like the fighting style in this fight scene. You can see the CGI, the visual effects are very great in this. Another thing that I like about this episode is the visual expressions on Godzilla's face. The way he moves, his fighting style definitely improved, as I previously said. And he also shows a fighting style that we haven't really seen from him. Even in Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong. This really shows how much experience he has gained from fighting those previous monsters. And I like the way he is always above that monster, showing that he is the most dominant monster in this battle. I like the way that he grabs that monster. He uses his arms to throw him away. But again, the monster, the Iron Dragon, really shows his advantage with those wings, being able to hold on to the mountain, come back at him, use his claws, his acid type of attack. That's really great because it blinds Godzilla, it gives him that little advantage, but little does he know Godzilla uses his brute force to hold on to him, clinching him down to the ground, pinning him down, and then he charges that atomic breath, really shows him who's boss, holding him on from both arms, and then just throwing him out, really ripping him apart from his wings, causing lots of damage, and this is really impressive. Now, a key moment that gave Godzilla the advantage to be able to pin him down like that was that uppercut punch that he did to the Iron Dragon. You could see this took the Iron Dragon by surprise. He was not expecting Godzilla to come back at him with that punch, making the Iron Dragon pretty much lose the only advantage he had with that blinding acid. Godzilla really showed them who's boss, and yes, this battle was one-sided. I know that Godzilla is really the king of the monsters. He really shows why his fighting style is like no other compared to other monsters, but still, even for a monster that isn't really considered a high-tier threat to Godzilla, he put up a good fight, using what he had to his advantage. That is the ability to fly, maneuver in the air however he wishes. You could see that the Iron Dragon used everything it could to have an upper edge against Godzilla. His wings, the claws, his tail, grabbing onto Godzilla, surrounding him from behind, getting those angles where Godzilla isn't able to see. Of course, like any other human being, you're not able to see what's behind you. And of course, looking closely at Godzilla, you can see that experience coming into play, predicting those moves when the Iron Dragon was coming directly at Godzilla. Look closely, Godzilla already has his arms, his hands in that position of defense, ready to grab onto him. Both of them knew and you can see all the damage that Godzilla caused around the neck of the Iron Dragon. It's bloody. Godzilla was definitely not here to mess around. He was like, get your ass back in that dimension. You're going back to Hollow Earth. He grabbed him. He threw him like trash. Now, let's talk about the overall rating of this series for the first time. Most people were not feeling it. They thought the characters could have been a lot better. There was a more human story than anything else. A lot of people were expecting monsters. That's why many people said it's called Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Instead of that, they should have renamed this to Monarch Legacy of Family. That's what I've been seeing a lot of people doing, those memes and all that. I get it. Most people don't really care for humans, especially if the humans are not great with their backstories and you don't care for them. I get most people just want action with monsters nonstop. But again, this is season 1. If there's a possibility for season 2, anything can change. We've seen multiple animes, movies, series, what have you. Season 2 always gets better, and by the looks of it, it could focus on Kong. We saw him in Skull Island, or what it appears to be Skull Island, getting destroyed with that monster. I forgot his name. It's like this bad type of monster. I'm pretty sure those are the events that are occurring. That's when that crazy bad comes into play and has that epic battle with Kong. It seems like if there's a thunderstorm, there's rain, so who else can be causing this? You know, I get that many people just didn't like it overall. They called it trash or just didn't watch it anymore, but it did pretty good. The director himself stated that the series overall did very, very good in terms of performance. Now, for me personally, I don't mind the humans. I always like a good story with humans and monsters, but I get people. And for me, the way I see it is they just wanted to establish the storyline, why those humans are there, why characters have done certain things in the timeline. I get it. Maybe season 2 could be totally different and they could focus on new characters. You never know. This again could be focusing more on Kong rather than Godzilla. Season 1 could have been all about Godzilla. Season 2 could be all about Kong or a mix of both. We don't know. And again, a lot of people are disappointed because they feel like they could have had the epic battle between Prime Muto and Godzilla. It never happened. There was no mention of Prime Muto. I think most of us can already feel where this is going. Probably it's not canon anymore. It's not confirmed, but why wasn't any of those events mentioned? Muto Prime gave Godzilla the beat of his life and none of those events were mentioned at all. It's kind of weird. Now we do know that the Awakening comic book is no longer canon because of the events that happen in this movie or series compared to the comic book are totally different. They don't align with each other. And the director himself already stated that they didn't use the comic book as a direction, as a base. Sure, they took some inspiration, but that wasn't their goal. This is their own thing. So a lot of people are now questioning if the comic books are even canon now. Is Muto Prime even a thing now? Are those events even a thing? Because the dorsal plates, well, Godzilla, right? His changes with the dorsal plates weren't really explained. He just appeared out of nowhere after the events of 2014 and boom, he has new dorsal plates. Sure, there's hints of how that happened, but now people are thinking that Muto Prime was not the reason why Godzilla evolved into his new dorsal plates. If that's true, then it means that, yeah, our fears are becoming a reality. It means that the comic books are no longer canon. I don't know, it's confusing. I think the series could have definitely established a better understanding as to what the timeline was. Sometimes it shows, and other times you're kind of lost switching between characters, which is which. So maybe in season 2 they could do a better job just focusing on a single timeline or focusing more on a single character throughout his journey rather than just a mixed bag going back and forth with characters that we don't really like or enjoy and doing things that were a waste of time instead of focusing on monsters or true character developing in the background.